Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is obviously an Ateez cup. You'll know that if you clicked on the thumbnail. I based this cup on the episode 3 of the Treasure album set, and this particular one is the one that I also personally own. It's the one that has the blue and the gold. And for whatever reason, the footage of me applying the very first layer of mica and epoxy just didn't make it, I suppose. Unfortunately, I do record all of these with my phone, and sometimes videos just don't record. But in this case, it did get my second application, and what I did was I mixed in blue mica with my epoxy. And what you're seeing on the screen right now is the first layer, and as you can see, it's a little bit patchy, so I'm applying a second layer of epoxy on there in order to make the color a bit more even. I was going back and forth on whether or not I even wanted to post this video, because unfortunately I did make a few mistakes along the way. It didn't come out as perfectly as I would have liked, but I will be remaking this cup in the future. But I thought I would still upload this video anyway, just so you can see what I did, at least on the original attempt at making this design. But one of the things that I will be repeating is this mica layer. I thought it actually turned out really beautiful. It has a very beautiful gleaming effect in the sunlight. So while the original album is obviously just a flat color, a flat blue or a flat red, I believe also was the second variation on that particular album, I wanted to make something that had a little bit more sparkle to it. So after the second layer of mica and epoxy, I wanted to apply the vinyl to it. I used a holographic gold vinyl, and I created this design on Illustrator and then cut it. I spent some time making sure that the design would fit the cup itself, and making sure that certain aspects of the design, such as those letters, were going to be able to fit in the correct location before applying them. The letters for this design really did go on very beautifully. So there's a bit of a jump in the video, as you can see, where I started applying the bar across the middle of the design. Unfortunately, it didn't really record me doing all of that, and also you're kind of missing what happened with the large letters in the Ateez logo on there. What you're not, however, missing is all of my struggles when dealing with applying this sort of design to this type of cup. Fortunately, this kind of art mine cup has a bit of a tapered curve as it goes down, and unfortunately when you're doing a design that has this sort of bar that goes all the way around, unfortunately it tends to cause the design to not be quite so even. So as you can see, I am now pulling the entire thing off. It was really traumatic for me unfortunately, to pull all of that off, and I was really very broken up about it, but I did continue on with, at least with what I had. And what I had was actually the names of all the members. It's not part of the original album art, but I really just wanted to make it a bit more obvious that this is an Ateez cup. Also, truthfully, when I actually was making this, I didn't really know too much about Ateez, and I was making this on behalf of one of my friends, but as I started to work on the album and I actually was listening to their music while I was making this cup, I'm actually a big fan now. I do own one of their albums, and I actually am going to go see them in April, which I think is pretty cool. So, you know, making this cup actually made me a stan as well. Alright, and now we're viewing my second attempt. As you can see, I did change the logo and I made it smaller and more reflective of the original album art. It was just easier to apply that way, unfortunately. It's not what I really wanted, and I may try and redo it again later, but for right now, I went back with the smaller design. So a little bit of residue was left over from the first time I tried to apply the bar, So I did take some rubbing alcohol to it to get rid of that residue before reapplying the bar to the cup. I very carefully threaded the new bar through the existing design, making sure that the names were properly located. And unfortunately, even though I lengthened the bar before I cut it, it still was just not laying properly because of the curvature of the cup, and I was having a lot of issues trying to get it to go all the way down or to smooth it out. And unfortunately also with these foil vinyls, every mistake and imperfection is just on full display, and I tried so much to get it to fit correctly. And unfortunately, what I actually ended up doing was cutting the bottom to be reflective of a flag instead of just being a solid line going all the way down. You can't see most of the imperfections in the vinyl from the video, but I assure you they are there, and they are noticeable enough in real life that I won't be doing another one of these cups with the holographic vinyl. I've elected on the next version of this to use a flat matte vinyl over the blue base, and I think that will turn out looking very, very lovely whenever I go to do that. But you know, at the same time though, I'm not unhappy with how this turned out. I applied 2 more layers of epoxy and I wet sanded in between to make sure that the finish was extra smooth. And that's pretty much it for this cup. It's basically done. And my friend Cynthia, I know that she loved it. She actually sent me a text after she got it, and she was really, really happy with it. And I'll actually be going with her to see Ateez in April. And my plan is to actually make 4 of these cups in different colors to reflect the different album arts and give them to her and to some of my other friends who are going to be going, and as sort of a memento of the concert experience. So anyway, I don't know if I'll post a video of making those, but if I do, it'll be on the channel probably in a few months, okay? So that's pretty much it. It's been real. Bye.